Okay, so it's been about 8 minutes, and my liquid's reduced by about half. It's gotten a little thicker, and, well, the smell in here is just amazing. Now, what we have to do, start adding some flavors into this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add the main flavor component of a chili. So many people I've seen making a chili go, but I've added all the chili powder I could possibly add, and I keep adding more, it doesn't taste like a chili. Well, first off, store-bought chili powder, not going to give you a whole heck of a lot of flavor. However, it will give you that deep red color that you're looking for. How do we add the flavor then, you're going to ask? The secret is taco seasoning mix. Now, you can make your own, but why go through all that trouble when this is 50 cents a packet sitting at the local supermarket? For this amount, you're going to want 2 packets. The cheaper the better, obviously, I think, because it contains the right amount of salt. You'll notice we haven't added any salt or pepper here. So, 1, 2. Now we're also going to want to add one teaspoon of dried oregano. Dried is important. If you use fresh, well, you can use fresh, but the dried will tend to meld better into this stew. 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. You can grind your own cumin seeds, but first you have to toast them, and well, that's a whole other program. This is going to give it that smoky flavor that you want from a meat dish. And we've got 2 tablespoons of chili powder to make this a nice deep red color. And a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cayenne pepper. Like I said, my kids eat this, so I'm not looking to make it, some kind of He-Man contest. That's more than enough heat. I'll get just a little bit of spice out of it. If you want more, please, go right ahead. Just to give it a little something special, spectacular, and have people go, wow, what is that? Maybe about a teaspoon or so of Worcestershire sauce. Get that all mixed in there nice and thoroughly. You'll see it's turning a nice deep red, which is exactly what we want. At this point now, you want to taste it. It's exactly what I'm looking for, but you may notice it may need a little more salt. It's not going to taste like exactly like you want your chili yet, but we still have one more major flavor component to add. But you'll notice the salt content, the pepper content, whether it's hot enough, not, So our last component is going to be tomatoes. Now, I could cut up a couple of regular tomatoes. In this case, I happen to have in my pantry a can of crushed tomatoes, so I'll just use those. Perfectly fine. Now we got it looking like good pot of chili. And we're going to let that simmer here on the stove for about 15 minutes or so. Let it cook, let the flavors intensify. It's going to reduce just a hair, but not really that much because we've got a lot of liquid in here. We want it to get down to a nice thick consistency. So we'll check back with this in about 15 minutes. Okay, so we've let it sit for about 15 minutes. Been simmering all along. All along the way you want to stir this every couple of minutes just to make sure that it doesn't stick to the bottom, especially if you're using cast iron, because this cast iron, it's the ultimate cooking vessel. It retains the heat. It doesn't just, the second you pull it off, lose the heat. It doesn't all dissipate out. The iron actually retains the heat and continues to cook. So the important thing is to stir as you go along to make sure that nothing sticks to the bottom. So at this point now, you may be wanting to add some beans. Okay, traditional chili doesn't really contain beans. There are purists out there, but if you know me, I'm not necessarily a purist. At this point, you could add red kidney beans, you could add white beans, you could add black beans. I prefer the black beans. But what you're going to do is you're going to get a can of beans. For this amount, probably like a 15-ounce can, 15, 16 ounces, depending upon what your store is selling you. You want to open that can and you want to run those beans through a colander and rinse them off with cold water until the water runs clear out of the bottom. That way all that the gunk that they're packed in has been rinsed off. Here we have one 15-ounce can of black beans. Pop them right in there. Stir them in. Turn the heat off. They'll soften up just a bit as this cooks through, because as I said, this retains the heat. Now, you may be thinking we're done. No, we're not. I probably should have told you earlier, but in any event, you want a 350-degree preheated oven. What you're going to do at this point, place a lid on your chili, pop it in to your 350-degree oven, and we're going to set the timer for 2 hours, then your chili will be ready. Now, in order to do this, you may have to remove one of the racks inside your oven. Set it in there for 2 hours and let it be. In a couple of hours, we come back, perfect chili meal. Okay, so it's been 2 hours. Let's get that sucker out of the oven. And here we have one beautiful pot of homemade chili. Now, you don't have to put it in the oven for 2 hours like I did. It really intensifies the flavors and adds something to it. However, if you're just making a quick dinner, boom, you do all this, you got it on the table within 45 minutes. Okay? Just skip the sticking it in the oven step. However, I really find that it just adds so much to it. Now you can serve it in a bowl with some shredded cheddar cheese on top and maybe some nacho chips or a nice fresh loaf of crusty bread on the side. Hope we've taught you a little something.